Now, homelessness is a big topic for San Francisco mayoral candidates as well. Phil and I asked former Mayor Willie Brown how he would compare the current San Francisco mayoral race with past ones.
It's almost like a joke. In the old days, you really had quality people making quality presentations. Now you have quality people dumbing down.
Now, for the record, you are supporting Board of Supervisors President London Breed,
Yeah,
right?
but you asked me for an objective appraisal of the race, and I'm telling you that it is one dull race. As a matter of fact, the ratings on TV are almost zero. Melissa saved it last week when she acted as the MC, and she wouldn't let him get away with anything.
You're talking about a debate at the Commonwealth Club, and what was your impression as far as differences between the top-tier candidates?
Well, I mean, so we had Republicans there as well as Democrats, so of course there are big policy differences there, but among some of the frontrunners, it's really difficult. You're talking about very, very weedy, very specific differences if you're trying to draw a line between, say, what London Breed would vote on versus what Mark Leno or
They all
Jane
agree
Kim.
that we need to do more for the homeless and build more housing, ease up the transportation, and are any of them...
But it's not their fault, Phil. The nature of this campaign is controlled by ranked choice voting. You can't offend anybody. You can't look and say, you know, Leno should be operating the local funeral home. You can't say anything like that because you will offend all of the people who voted for him first. You want them to vote for you second. So everybody is going after all of the votes rather than just the winning vote.
That's right, and it really does bring down the level of acrimony between the candidates. But from a voter perspective, you don't necessarily want to see people fighting. You just want to learn what they're about and what they can do for you. So while it may be fun and interesting to watch people yell at each other, that, as a debate moderator, you want to make sure the audience is just getting a sense of who these guys are and then using that to vote.
And every one of these campaigns have essentially had the same focus groups, and the focus groups say essentially the same thing, and so every candidate says the same thing, and are they dull?
You know, one thing about ranked choice voting is really hard to poll because you have to ask people who are you going to vote for first and then second, and you sort of have to do a mock ranked choice redistribution. So it's always hard to know exactly who's ahead. People keep saying who's going to win. It's really anybody's game right now.
So all the candidates are sort of forced to be cordial with one another, at least outwardly. Is it a facade? I mean, are there real policy differences and even just kind of personal animosity beneath the surface? Well,
they're all very you know, diplomatic around members of the press, but certainly folks in their campaigns have lots of more colorful things to say about the different candidates behind closed doors. And we can also see the effect of money on the quality of election ads in this election cycle. Phil and I asked former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown what he thinks about all these political ads.
Leaves a lot to be desired. Clearly, there's almost no money being invested in the production side. It's all for how many ads you can get on TV. I don't care what the ads say. They really do need to go back to the drawing boards and start all over and make sure production is a big expense.
Well, they all seem to think that Kamala Harris is the person they need sort of endorsing them. I've been watching TV and seen 3 in a row where she's endorsing.
25 candidates. I think all 25 have an ad out for her, and it looks like she's wearing the same outfit in every ad.
And she's reading off it, clearly reading the ad copy.
And not with a whole lot of sincerity. It's amazing how, you know, you really can get overexposed. I have never suffered from that, of course, but you can get overexposed. And when you do, you have nothing to say. You really ought to be as original. If I endorse Melissa, I ought to say, hey, listen, you know, I'm in for endorsing her, but you know why? It's not because of her politics. It's the beautiful hair.
You're on. I'm going to remember that someday. But here's the thing. One of the things that's interesting is you're watching these lieutenant governor candidates running as if they're running for president or something with a lot of power. They're really giving their platforms on like gun control
for a job
and
that basically doesn't do much.
And what they ought to be doing is just saying, I read the obituary every day.
To see if the governor's still around.
I'm a pro.
All right.